Pardon moi, folks. So damn excited I could hardly speak. Quick sip of water. Don't mind me, folks. Anyways, as I was, getting to, we have a monumental announcement here at JRtheP. I have officially dropped my first stand-up comedy special. Holy Toledo. Brushing that shoulder off, you know? Hallelujah. Monumental achievement in any comedian's career. It's a big one, folks. It's a big one. And I am very fortunate and grateful and just flabbergasted, gobsmacked that I delivered on the motherfucker. So let's talk about it a little bit. This little baby, it's going to be available online for free, you know? Johnathan Ramcharan, suitable for no audiences. You know, like anybody doing what they do. This pandemic really took a wet bite out of us. You know, chomping to the old backside. And like everyone, there I was like sitting around and, the first conception for it was, as I refer to my notes, November 8th, 2020, when I get into the notebook, November 8th, 2020, I was like, I jotted down. I was like, what did I write? Let me look into the tome. November 8th, 2020. I had written, one-man post-pandemic show. Shooting locations. Blah, 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 blah. Different locations I wanted to shoot at in my fair city of Toronto. That was November 8th, 2020. And I officially recorded the special. It was recorded and in the can October 21st. No, October 11th. October 11th, 2021. It was recorded in the can. So what is that? November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. From conception to birth, it took 11 months. And, what I did was, what I did for that was like, it was just something I had to do. I'm like, pandemic, it's like overinflated hysteria, fake news, the China flu from China. People were just, like, I kind of knew from the onset that, like, this is just over exaggeration, hyperbole. And, like everyone, I was cautious for a few months. I looked at the information. I looked at the data. I kind of looked at society. I'm like, it's a phony baloney mumbo jumbo. Now, I'm not saying that COVID-19 is phony baloney mumbo jumbo, but the over sensationalization of it, the politicization of it, COVID-19, it can be devastating for those who contract it. If they fall into a particular group that's at risk. Upwards of 80% of people can recover without no special treatment. It affects the elderly, the poor at health, the overly obese. Children are basically immune. They can be carriers, but they rarely have much problem should they transmit it. With their beautiful immune systems, their healthy immune systems, as Trump would say. So from the beginning of pandemic, like, I kind of knew. And there I was, like anyone out there on the grind, hustling, trying to do their thing, small business, or just, a student, or anyone. Like, let's say you're like a, like those strongman competitions that just kind of popped into my mind. Maybe you're somebody who was into like competing strongman competitions, strong person competitions, or CrossFit trainer. All of a sudden the gyms are closed and the brakes are put on your health and your livelihood and your freedom. It was a clusterfuck. I don't have to remind you, pandemic 2020, COVID-19. So there I was, and I'm like, in my position as a comic, very much coming up in my career still, it was like, wow, like, am I gonna sit back on my haunches and do nothing and say nothing about such a moment in my life and in the world agenda, the world stage, like COVID-19? I'm just going to sit back like a mime and do nothing, right? And then I'm like, and I love mimes, by the way. I'm reading a book on pantomimes, think outside the box. So I love mimes, but like, am I really going to sit around and like a mime and do nothing during pandemic? I'm like, no, I got to do something. So on November 8th, 2020, that was the conception, the conceiving, I ejaculated into my notebook. I was like, yo, one man post-pandemic show. Got to do something. It's just, what, I'm not going to talk about the biggest news story of my lifetime on a global scale, right? So it's like, okay, got to get on it. And then I just did what, I couldn't get on stage anywhere. I didn't even try to, because like, what's so devastating to the small business person, and like, as a stand-up comedian, you're in business for yourself, and I'm like a small business owner operator, JRtheP, Johnathan Ramcharan, the podcast, stand-up comedian, small business owner. And like, it's a tough sell to do independent comedy as it is. I've hosted my own shows, produced my own shows, gigging around, doing open mics, little booked shows, gigs, whatever, bar gigs, trying to get in at clubs. It's a grind to promote yourself on stage as a small up-and-comer, let alone during a pandemic, right? So I'm like, I'm not going to be scrounging around to try to bother people in these trying times. I understand. People are concerned for their health, their family, their livelihood. I don't want to be scraggling around trying to get on stage at some, I didn't want to perform under, like, I felt cool, calm, and collected, but I didn't want to have to perform for people who were under duress. You know what I mean? Like, it was just too early at that point. We're talking, like, as I mentioned, end of 2020, early 2021. It was just too early for myself. I didn't like have the resources to like rapid test or the notoriety that would come with people actually wanting to show up to my shows, just up and coming like a small business person. And I'm like, all right, well, I got to do something. So then I just got into the workshop day by day. I just, at the table I sit with my pen. At the table I sit, making it legit. And when my pen hits the pad, oh shit. Like Big Daddy Kane. At the table I sit, making it legit. And when that pen hits the pad, oh shit. right? So that's what I did. I would just sit there an hour a day at least, and I'd just be writing jokes. You know? I'm not going to recite them for you. Just check out the special. Still can't even believe I did it sometimes. You know what I mean? That's like an achievement in a career. Like, chalk it up to whatever you do. You know, let's say you're a chef and you get awarded the Master Chef fucking award of culinary excellence. That's like a benchmark in your career, right? Or like whatever the fuck, you know? You know, you turned your 1,000th trick as a streetwalker. Oh, no, you really are you know, I don't, you know. And by the way, I punched down plenty on my special. Johnathan Ramcharan, suitable for no audiences. I'm making fun of poor people, the whole kit and caboodle. So, you know, let's say you're a streetwalker and you hit that 1,000th blowjob. Ding, ding, ding. Oh my God. You know, I never thought I could make it. I want to thank my pimp. You know, giving a speech on the corner. So anyways, you know, I'm writing jokes and, you know, wow. Yeah, you know, I was just writing jokes. You know, November 2020, January 2021, February 2021, March, April, May, just writing jokes and also unsure. Just like showing up for the gig, not knowing. Because I'd planned to do the special. I'm like, look, I'm just going to write a bunch of jokes and record a special. I don't know, maybe I can rent out a gymnasium and play to nobody. Or maybe I'll just, I don't know, like I like one of the initial plans was like, there's like a bridge by my house. It's kind of a funky bridge. And I just thought, I don't know, maybe if I just go there in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day and get somebody to film me telling jokes on a bridge. Just something like that. I don't know, something. Anything was better than nothing, you know? So there I am just writing these jokes and not even really knowing, like, is this going to come to fruition? And also, like everyone, just dealing with the times. Like, what's this changing landscape? Total clusterfuck. You know? You know, March, April, May, June, July, August, writing jokes. And then, you know, damn. Then all of a sudden here we are and the jokes are written. You know, I write, 100+ jokes. I'm rehearsing them, working on them. And when I reflect on that time, what really comes to my mind is like just the unknowing, just the uncharted, just setting out into the deep blue, getting on that raft and making a break for it. I'm leaving this fucking island. Hop on the raft, you're just out to sea. I really didn't know if I could do it or how I would do it, or all I knew was I had to get busy, and that was the building block, writing jokes. And I didn't have, I knew that all I had to do was perform them, write them the best I can, perform them the best I can. That was my only objective. Just kept writing them, rehearsing them. Finally, I get to a point where it's like, yeah, I got enough jokes. I've rehearsed them enough. Let's look to hire a videographer and an editor. So here we are, July 31st, 2021. I place an ad online on a popular film production, filmmaking site for actors and filmmakers, performers. I post an ad. Toronto comic / actor seeks videographer / editor to shoot and edit a comedy special. And, I break down the pay, the workload, and about the shoot. The shoot will be in downtown Toronto, outdoors for the most part. The material is against politically correct culture and criticizes the overreach in COVID-19 protocol. If you're interested in some examples, please check out my site. And I linked them some information. Yeah. Let me read that again. About the shoot. The shoot will be in downtown Toronto, outdoors for the most part. The material is against politically correct culture and criticizes the overreach in COVID-19 protocol. If you're interested in some examples, please check out my site. That was on July 31st, 2021. And, I was blessed. Like the first person who bit, the first application I got was the man I hired. Yagor. This really cool Serbian dude, this really focused and artful filmmaker. Focused and artful, just very well-composed shots, very technical in the execution of it all. Just worked out. And, one of the major things that is coming to mind to me right now is, like, as a comic, this is kind of a new phase for me because this is my first comedy special and it's relatable to anybody who hits a milestone in their career, which is to take them to the next level, or at least for themselves a personal triumph, because it is very hard to come up with enough original material to even make a special, let alone do one that you're proud of. And man, like, whenever you're a comic, you can feel a certain draw or pressure to perform beyond. But now it's like, I really have that calling card where it's like, look, take a look at the special, take a look at what I do. I mean, it's there. Proof's in the pudding. I don't know. What do you think? Put out a special, call myself a comedian. It speaks for itself. I don't have to, no, I am a comedian, please. Let me bore you to death with my fucking stories at the Christmas party. Like being all needy for attention and shit. Type of shit that makes you sick to your stomach. Tap dancing all the live long day for people. Had a lifetime of it. Finally, I'm just free to be me. Turning that page. Turning that corner of achievement and creativity in one's career. You get your first customer as a freelance journalist. You land your first freelance journalist gig. You're going to make $1,000 to cover some political rally somewhere. And then there you are typing it up like, holy smokes, like I'm in the game. And even that's not a good comparison because I've been paid to do stand-up comedy, semi-pro comic. Like, it's not like I'm making a couple $100 or whatever the hell for the first time. It's like I'm hitting a benchmark that like some comics never get to in a career for whatever reason. And all that matters is not to look at what other people do, but know that I went for something and I accomplished something with the help of some very talented people. As I mentioned, Yegor, the videographer, editor, man, we were able to just kind of come together and work it out. I mean, we just did it. And, there was really an ease about it. And, when you hear people say like, they speak about God in their work, I really feel like God was with me and with us on the project. It just was. It just came together. Again, to reference Big Daddy Kane, at the table I sit, making it legit, and when the pen hits the paper, oh shit. I just showed up to what I knew I had to show up to, and then I think God was just with me on it. He just showed me what to do. And I'm not really big on a status or whatever, or I'm top dog, I'm number one. He helped me bring out my gift of comedy, as he has helped many others before me and after me, and to varying degrees of success. But he was definitely with me to help me bring out my quality of comedy. Because as I mentioned, I really didn't know what to do or to expect other than I'm a stand-up comic. I'm a hack, I'm a lowlife, I'm a dirtbag, scumbag, scumbucket, fucking derelict comedian. I'm going to sit at the table. I'm going to write these jokes. I'm going to look for a videographer, editor. We're going to go out and shoot it. And we're going to do this despite this fear, pandemonium. Fear, anger, aggression. These are tenements of the dark side. Fear, anger, aggression. These are tenements of the dark side. Always what can't be done with you. COVID-19 got you scared to death, you are. Scared to death of the China flu, you must be. Despite all that fear, anger, and aggression and all the BS mumbo jumbo, overinflated hyperbole of the times, COVID-19. No, it's like, no, I'm going to go out there and do it, even though I was charting out into new territory for myself. I wrote, produced, performed, and directed this special. And that's a major achievement in any comic's career. So, there we are, the night of the shoot, October 11th, 2021. It was Thanksgiving Day in Canada. We began the shoot at like 1 a.m., 3 a.m. or something. See, I don't even remember. Well, I do remember and I don't remember. It's like I was just riding the wave of just details, specifics. It's like I learned everything to forget everything. It was just like I did the work to forget the work. It just happened. And that's what I mean about that God element. It's like, as I try to remember, was it 1 a.m. or was it 3 a.m. that we met up to shoot? Who fucking cares? All I know is I showed up when I had to. You know what I mean? You ever have somebody try to break down? It's like, I would imagine it would be like shredding an epic guitar solo. If you're going to ask the guy, what scale did you play? What progression? What note did you hit note by note? Was it a quarter note? Was it a half note? Was it a 16th note? Was it a whole note? Was it in the pentatonic scale? Was it the Mixolydian? What? It's like, look, dude, I don't even know. All I know is I played guitar, I showed up, and when it was time for me to hit that motherfucking solo, I fucking hit it. So that's what it was, man. I just hit it. We show up at the first location, which was City Hall, downtown Toronto. And Yegor was there, and his second camera man, Pedro. And this guy too, he was very focused and on point, and he helped the production. There were times when, pedestrians and people were kind of, I don't want to say they were in our way. It's not like we had the rights or the permits to be shooting in some of our locations. These guys are pretty cool too. Like, Yegor comes up to me on the day of the shoot and he's like, yes, and don't worry. We have forged the documents. So if there's any problems with the police officers or the security or whatever, I have forged the documents. Thug. We didn't need, it's a whole stupid mumbo jumbo thing about having permits to shoot on public property. And it's like my viewpoint's like, look, I'm a tax-paying citizen. Why the hell should I pay a permit to the city to shoot a film on a sidewalk? Like, I can understand if it's like, some big blockbuster with like hundreds of extras milling about, but like some little indie comedy special, why should I pay my city a permit fee to shoot on the street where I pay taxes? Now, that's just the way I look at it. Whether that holds up in the court of law, who knows? But, we did what we did and whatever. So we go and we shoot. And, Yegor, just on point. His cameraman, Pedro, on point. And again, with me, like the jokes I wrote, rehearsed, worked on, they just were, And, what I was going for was, the special's called Johnathan Ramcharan, suitable for no audiences. It's kind of like a double entendre, triple entendre. There's many ways you could look at that title. It's kind of cool. Suitable for no audiences. It's just so filthy or raunchy or too good. It's either too bad or too good for no audiences. So it's suitable for no audiences. There's a couple ways you can take that. It's either too good or too bad, right? It's either garbage or great. Suitable for no audiences. And also, I was just performing jokes to no audience. I was working with what I had, COVID-19. I didn't have COVID-19. Not that I know. I've never been tested for it. But I was working with what was before me. COVID-19. So, suitable for no audiences. I can't play to no audiences? Okay, well, it's suitable for no audiences. I'm playing to no audiences. So I knew I had to perform it, and I knew I had to have, an interesting look. That's where Yegor and Pedro came in. That's where the whole idea, if you check out the special, we're shooting on the streets of beautiful downtown Toronto. City Hall, Dundas Square, lakefront. And, it was lit. And, interacting with like all the traffic and the random pedestrian, it did give it a live comedy feel. There was times when I had to like interact with like a bus flying by or a taxi or like a street peasant panhandler, and, there were a lot of elements that made it feel like a live stand-up comedy performance. I recall the first location, we were shooting at City Hall, which is like Queen Street, Queen and basically Queen and University. Queen Street and University Avenue, downtown Toronto. Or actually Queen and Bay. Between Queen and Bay and Queen and University in downtown Toronto. Between Queen and Bay and Queen and University Avenue. There's City Hall. And at that first location, there it is, like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was. And, I remember we're setting up the lights, we're setting up everything. And there was these two young women, like, I don't know, probably like 19, 20. Cute. Very cute. And they're sitting there. And we're setting up the lights, and I'm walking back and forth, and they're looking at me. What's he doing? Is he a rapper or something? What's he doing with the microphone? Like, they're looking at me, and they're looking, right? So then finally it's time to shoot. Yegor and Pedro, they turned the lights on, and I remember looking at the people watching, right? And I looked over at those two girls, and I remember one of them, she just sits up. She goes, "Oh, it's starting." She was like, "It's starting." She looked all excited to see what was going on, right? I'm thinking, this SJW, she's going to hate me, right? She's probably taking fucking, design at some fucking, she's all into fucking, binary pronouns for fucking hamsters and shit, right? So I was like, she sits up. "Oh, it's starting." Cute as a button, right? I was like, okay. So I get up there and I'm spitting it, and the piece that I was doing there was a spoken word poem, very funky and eclectic and different, and I'm very proud of it. So definitely check out the special to see what I'm talking about, to hear what I'm talking about here. I was performing the piece from the special, Who Really Cares, which is a spoken word poem that I had written. It's very comedic, it's very foul, a lot of cuss words and whatnot. So I'm up there saying, feminism, fucking fuck this and fuck that, Black Lives Matter. I'm like screaming all this shit. And I look over to where those girls were sitting, where they were once interested and captivated. "Oh, it's about to start." I look over to the girls and they're gone. They lasted like 2 minutes of me screaming and ranting. I'm like, feels like a real comedy show. Disgruntled audience members who want refunds for the show that they didn't pay for, storming off. Then we hit up our next location, which was Dundas Square in Toronto, Canada. Yonge Street and Dundas Street. That is Dundas Street or Dundas Avenue? Dundas Street. So yeah, Yonge Street and Dundas Street. That intersection. It's what is known as Dundas Square. It's like our Canadian version of Times Square. A big communal spot, lots of lights and screens, and just captivating. A real energy-filled place. And it's a public square. So I'm like, it's fitting for me to go drop some comedy. And again, Yegor and Pedro, they really captured the scene. They really captured the scene, and and it was wild too. It's like, as I mentioned, like, I humbly say God was with me. God was with us on that, because there was a moment where we get there, and we had to find our spot, right? We're setting up this independent shoot. So we're trying to find our spot away from the pedestrians, away from the people. We finally settle on a location like right by the Eaton Center, right directly across from Dundas Square. And, there's a homeless guy literally passed out on the ground, right next to where we set up. We're putting, we got the mic stand, the stool, the lights, the cameras. We're setting up camp. There's a passed out homeless dude laying on the ground behind us, and a puddle of vomit. Someone upchucked on the ground right by where we're shooting. And, but like Yagor and Pedro, just champs. They didn't give a shit, man. They were just like focused. They just whipped down their equipment, started setting up. I'm like, yo, do you guys want to be here? And they're like, well, it's the best shot. Like, no, we can do it here. It's the best location for us. Yeah, we'll do it here. And I was like, oh yeah, I was just trying to see if you guys were comfortable. I don't mind performing in front of a puddle of vomit. You're right. So like, but it worked out great. And, again, like, how I mentioned, like, God was on the shoot. I'm telling you, like, expect the unexpected is the message I'm trying to say. I'm trying to relate this to everyone. We're coming through this time of pandemic, and it was just such a trying thing for everyone. The small independent business owner, the government worker, the healthcare worker, the working people, and the people at home with their family obligations or other situations that keep them at home, just as a society going through this pandemic. And sometimes you just gotta go out there in faith and reach out. And sometimes you're swinging blind, but you may connect. And that's what I felt happened for us. We had the faith. I had the faith. God was with us. There was a moment in the early portion of my set at Dundas Square. It was like a 30-minute set that I was going to be doing at that location, and then like a 20-minute set at a different location. So at that Dundas Square location, we're set up, we're recording, boom, I'm going at it. I'm at the top of my set. I got another 30 minutes potentially to deliver in public. And a bus, just like flies by in the background. And it was something I hadn't prepared for. And it kind of startled me for a second. And I looked, and I ad-libbed a line. I said a funny little line. And then I remember in that moment, I'm like, oh, so it's going to be like that. Buses. Then, it was all kind of in slow motion. I'm like, oh, so it's going to be like that. Buses and pedestrians. And I'm like, it's out of my control. It's out of my control. Like I've been working on these jokes. I've been writing these jokes. I've been rehearsing these jokes an hour a day. I would literally just, set one. And I would set up a timer on my cell phone, hit the start button on the timer. Then I would just perform to myself, staring at a wall, standing up, holding a banana. Like sometimes I'd literally be holding a banana or like a flashlight or something to like imitate a microphone, holding a fucking flashlight, speaking to myself, looking at a wall, telling jokes to nobody, and just going for the performance and trying to craft the humor and get the words right. I was doing that for like, what did I say? November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So like roughly 11 months. I know you would have counted 12 if you were counting along with me, but really it was like around 10, 11 months. I'd been sitting with this material, rehearsing it, writing it, rewriting it. And in that moment when the bus flew by me, and I ad-libbed a line, and then I soaked it in and I looked around at what's going on. I'm like, wow, I gotta perform for the next half hour here on the side of a sidewalk. I'm standing on the middle of a sidewalk, pedestrians walking by, buses, taxis flying around. It's out of my control. And I'm like, yo, God is good. God is with me. God is with us. Let's just roll. I'm dropping it. I'm going to drop it. I'm dropping this motherfucking thing. And I just kind of went into, as I humbly say, I went into beast mode. I just humbly went into beast mode. I'm dropping these fucking jokes. And whatever happens, it's fine. I'm not worrying about any interruptions. I'm not worrying about anything. It's all fine. I'm dropping this motherfucking thing. And we used that first take. The vast majority of the Dundas Square footage, if you watch the special, the vast majority of the Dundas Square footage, probably like 85, 90% of it, was from the first take. Yeah. And, there was so many crazy things going on. There was like a fight that broke out. There was like these, like Bangladeshi dudes that are listening to their music. They're like, they had a bong out. They're like ripping bong hits and getting drunk and partying like right there in the street. We're trying to record the special. Then the police came to break it up and they're screaming at each other. Fuck you, buddy, fuck you. They're throwing cans and bottles and shit. Psh, and I'm just up there ripping my jokes, So anyways, and I'm telling my jokes and shit. It didn't faze me. I was just into it. Just locked and loaded and just going with the faith. It all came to this point. It all led me here. Where I could have laid back and did nothing, I decided to get up and do something. And I humbly say I went on that beast mode. And what I humbly say is that it's relatable to everyone. God was with me. God was with us. God brought the best out of us, which is what God does for people. He brings the best out of us. I wasn't thinking. It wasn't even me. I wrote, performed, produced, and directed that special technically, but I really didn't. God did. So many of the decisions, so many of the things, like when I really think about it, I didn't even really do. I just showed up. All I knew was, okay, I'm a comedian and I know I have that talent, that gift. I humbly accept it. I humbly enjoy it. I stand with the many other gifted comedians throughout time. Amateur, pro, whatever. I'm just in that community. I'm on that wave length. And, at the table I sit, making it legit. And when the pen hits that paper, shit. I just showed up to the task. One thing led to another. I didn't think too much about it. When an obstacle came, I just went with it. Kept the faith. God directed it. Like I said, I technically wrote, produced, performed, and directed the special. And even in hindsight now, and here I am speaking about it, promoting it, and it's like and I think it's very good. It's very good for what it is and for what the parameters are. And just knowing the challenge of being a comedian and, hallelujah, man. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind if I do, you know what I mean? Like, just knowing the triumphs and challenges of doing a special, and I just kept the faith. I didn't, And then when it came on to the last segment, the last shooting location of the special, very much same thing. It was just a beautiful ending to the shoot. And there were challenges that came, and I just rolled with them. I didn't try to control them. I didn't make it that important. I had faith. it was one of the biggest moments of faith in my life because, you know, I'm like anyone. You know, I want to do the things that I want to do the things that I enjoy in life, and they mean something to me, but they can't be so important that I'm willing to lose faith in times of challenge, like pandemic or whatever. Like, I'm not going to lose my faith and make it so important that I become immobilized and crippled by fear. Oh, they're going to take my comedy. Oh, comedy clubs are closing down. Oh, open mics are closing down. Where am I going to get on stage? What am I going to do? What about my comedy career? Let's write these damn jokes and let's get God to direct it. I mean, just tell me what to do. What do you want me to do? Want me to show up and tell jokes on the street? Okay. And then that's what I did. Make a big deal about it. Oh, the China flu. Wah. You know, when what's the saying? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's what I did, boy. Got going. Kept the faith. That's like relatable to anyone. It's pretty unbelievable. And it was just a beautiful ending to the shoot. We wrapped like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., more like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. We wrapped our shooting day. It was October 11th, 2021, Thanksgiving Day in Canada. We wrapped our shooting day. And, you know, as I mentioned, like, I really had that faith in the moment. I just had that faith and I went for it in the moment. And then as soon as I finished, caught a cab, went home, this wave of fear, anger, aggression, these are tenements of the dark side. Always what can't be done with you. Fear you are. Fearful you must. You know, all that fear, anger, and aggression kind of was talking at me. You're no good. You just went and fucking bombed. You bombed. Because I just removed myself from the equation. I was just like, yo, God's got this. I did the work. I showed up. I did what I got to do. I'm just going to go drop it. And I didn't really think about it. And I removed myself from it. And I wasn't trying to control things. And, you know, I was slipping jabs and slipping, you know, I was like Neo in the Matrix, you know, just dodging shit, telling these jokes on the sidewalk. You know what I mean? Got fucking panhandlers pestering me. Got buses flying around. Cops busting people in the background. You know, fights breaking out. You know? And also trying to perform. Tell jokes. Structured jokes. Set up punchline. Precision. Storytelling. Performance. Pantomime. Performing. As if it's like an easy thing any old swinging dink can do. Here I am trying to do it in the midst of all that chaos. And like I said, I removed myself from the equation. I didn't try to control things. I just let it be. Let it be. Have the faith. Then I got home and like I said, I just fell out. Fear, anger, aggression, these are tenements of the dark side. Start talking at me. Man, you just bombed. That was whack. What the fuck? Your first special, your first chance, and you bomb? Fuck. I wasn't really that mad. It's just the typical comedic horror. I'm no good, I'm a bomb, I'm a failure. Like just the typical comedic neuroses was like playing upon me. Tale as old as time. You know how it is. All my, jokesters out there. You know how it is. Play on, playa. I know what else to do. Like I mentioned, it was Thanksgiving Day. So like I ate half a pumpkin pie and just like laid in bed. And like, I just felt so low. Like I'm not one of those people who get into depression and stuff like that. I think words, you can cast a spell on yourself by talking all that negative nonsense and making a mountain out of a molehill. So I wasn't depressed and I was just believing into a lie, the typical comedic neuroses. Oh, I'm shit, I'm nothing, no good. Oh, boo, 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 boo. So bow down to him. Bow down. Bow down to the king of slime, the queen of rubbish. Boo, boo, boo. Princess Buttercup. Humperdinck, I was just like buying into the boo, boo, boo. You're shit, you're garbage, you're nothing. And I just like fell out, man. I was just like low, Can you get any lower? Ate half a fucking pumpkin pie and just like laid in bed. Lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did. And now I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Oh. How fucking Brian Wilson was laying in bed in depression? I was lying in bed like Brian Wilson did on the fucking morning of one of the most important moments in my comedy career. What everything has led to. Recording a special. I was lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Now I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Oh. Breaks your fucking heart. Just... all that work out the window. I was thinking, right? Like that fear, anger, and aggression was really playing on me, boy. Well, anyway, that's the majesty of God. As I mentioned, at the table I sit, making it legit, and when the pen hits the paper, shit. I just showed up, I wrote the jokes. I looked for people that would stand with me and help, I found Yegor. He knew Pedro. They came in. I didn't try to tell them what to do, even though I was the director. They told me it was good. It was good. All I know is I got to direct my performance. They can handle the camera, the stuff. Let me handle the performance. I'm looking at the playing field. Okay, we got buses, we got pedestrians. I'm just going to ad-lib to that, play to that. Keep in the pocket, don't go on tangents, stay to the script, And then once everything was done, that fear and that confusion was playing on me. I'm like, I fucking bombed, I shit the bed. But then when we get into the editing phase, the editing phase of the special, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the footage that Yegor shot. He and Pedro, the footage that Yegor and Pedro shot. It looked great. And my performance was very good. It was very good. For what we were working with and what we were going for, it was very good. Now, I ain't gonna blow smoke up your ass, and maybe if you want to blow a little smoke up my ass, tell me I'm God's gift to comedy. I mean, if you love me that much, I ain't gonna stop you, If you think I'm the funniest fucking thing since sliced bread, I ain't gonna stop you. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. Like, share, subscribe, comment. The whole wackadoo. If you love it that much, you know what I mean? Keep it. But I ain't trying to, blow smoke up anyone's ass and I'm the best comic since fucking, Fozzie Bear, waka waka waka, or whatever, you know? Hence the pork pie hat. This little get up, pork pie hat. Pork pie hat, but it was very good. And it's a very good representation of what I can do and the potential I have. And I was so blessed to have worked with people that helped me capture that. God worked it out. And everything is simple under God's guidance. You know? As I speak about it now, I'm not even emotional. I'm not even emotional. It just is. God's ways are simple and his loads are light. No pun intended. His loads are light. And I heard a preacher say that. Heard a reverend say that. His ways are simple and his loads are light. I just kept the faith and showed up. And he took care of it. All was well. And I hope that's relatable to everyone during this time. We're coming out of pandemic. We're going forward with life. We're getting on with things. And as I dedicated in the special, I'd like to dedicate right now. This is dedicated to everyone. The best is yet to come. Thank you very much. Johnathan Ramcharan, suitable for no audiences. Hallelujah.